All right, back again. And today we're going to be talking about why you shouldn't go to therapy with a narcissist. In the beginning, for many of you, you probably got fed or told that traumatic backstory from the narcissist perspective of how everyone was against them, how they did so bad and so wrong. Them being abused or their family members not being there for them. This whole type of dramatic, drawn out situation. And although some of that may be true that happened, I can guarantee you that most of it is exaggerated and blown completely out of proportion, minimizing their destructive roles within these situations. Okay? There's a reason why the narcissist has to set the foundation with this backstory like this. And I've said this many a times, and it's because narcissists know the power of sympathy to get you to relate to them, and especially through a sympathy play, right? So this is why they will introduce this traumatic backstory about what happened to him, because many of you, especially if you consider yourself empathic, will just dive nose first in to the BS and won't even sense it, won't even know what's going on. And for the narcissist, this plays right into their hands. Because most of you say, oh, they went through, they had it hard, and you'll start to justify the actions of them later. And we're going to talk about that. But in most cases, narcissists are the quintessential drama queens, drama kings. Always at odds or into it with others. Always at it and in some type of mess with someone. They're always at it or into it with, and this is one of the major key giveaways. Yes, the narcissist will make it and try to point the finger that it's everybody else, but listen, it can't be everybody, okay? It can't be everybody. Some of this boils down to it being them. But they have to make sure that the next victim, the next target, is open to, the sympathy play. And the reason why the narcissists do this is to manage down your expectations of their behaviors and to not hold them accountable, so that there's no accountability. And you will be expected to take to at least always forgive them and overlook their outlandish and egregious behavior. Right? And this is what the narcissist will continuously display throughout the situation, because they will expect you to always refer back to that time when they told you how bad they had it, when they told you how everyone always was against them and no one stood up for them and no one backed them. And they'll even use that against you when you go to correct them or stand up to them. They'll tell you that you're just like everybody else. You're doing the same thing. And this is what they do, a lot of projecting, right? And when you've decided that you've hit your breaking point and that you have to do something about this, right? It's getting too bad and you want to be with them, but this is too much. So you come to the conclusion that, hey, maybe therapy will be the answer. Maybe we can go get therapy together, couples therapy, marriage counseling, something, etc. Only to find that this is a big mistake. This is a big mistake, and I'll tell you why. The reason why it's a big mistake is because the narcissist knows, number one, exactly what they're doing. Number two, they know that they're the problem. But because narcissists have a victim's mentality, it's so easy for them to slip through the cracks. But the thing is, the thing that don't add up when you're dealing with victims, real victims that have accountability, they're not always finger pointing and projecting, right? They're too busy working on themselves and too busy trying to stay out of, these dramatic and hostile situations. So you end up trying to, wrestling in your mind, what can you do? And you go to therapy. The narcissist likes therapy, right? When it comes to this type of capacity of you going with them to try to help them out. Why? Therapy is used as a future faking tool so that they can buy time and appear to really want to help themselves, to be on your side, to want to change, right? It's all for the aesthetics. It looks good. It looks like, wow, they're going to therapy. Well, they must want to become a better person. And they'll even tell you, I really want to be with you. I really want to help myself. And I'm glad we're doing this therapy and all of this. And you'll start to buy into it. You'll start to believe that, okay, we're making some progress. We're getting therapy. And through the therapy, you still notice that nothing changes. The behavior is the same. They're still doing the same thing that you told them that is destructive and disruptive to the situation or the relationship transaction, as I call them. And the narcissist will rebuttal with, you got to give it a chance. You know how much I've been through. You know everything that I've dealt with. You got to give it a chance. I've been through so much. And it'll make sense if you don't know, how a narcissist fully operates. It'll make sense. Like, well, yeah, you do got to give it a chance. But over a period of time, nothing changes. And in fact, the narcissist will, over a period of time, they will try to isolate you from the therapist. So they'll stop wanting you to come with them. Right? And what happens in that position, the narcissist, because they're always in that sense of competition and wanting to look like the one that's normal, right? So over a period of time, they will convince the therapist that you're the problem, because they're not going to be honest even with the therapist. So they're going to convince the therapist that you're the one that's actually the problem. And they're coming because they're making it seem like, they'll play the victim role even to the therapist. Y'all have to listen. You have to understand of just how much narcissists use the victim role and how effective it is to unsuspecting people. The narcissist will somehow manage to convince the trained therapist or doctor that they're perfectly normal, that there's nothing wrong with them. And of course, the doctor or therapist isn't going to see it, because the narcissist is putting on an act and on their best behavior in front of the therapist. And now they begin to talk about all the things that you do and exaggerate the things that you do that trigger them. So now the therapist is looking at, well, maybe they're the issue and not you. And this is exactly where the narcissist wants to have it, to where the blame is shifted onto someone else. Remember, there's no accepting of accountability with them. So if they can push the problem or the issue off to someone else, that's a win. That's a victory for them. They just now again proved how much superior they are than you. And now they have someone backing them to co-sign. They got someone giving confirmation that you're the problem. And this is where many of you find out that the narcissist will, after a while with this therapy, start to turn things onto you and finger pointing and blaming you and saying that you're the problem. Then if you happen to go back with them, it will appear that the therapist has completely turned against you. And now the therapist is kind of looking at you like there's something wrong with you, because the narcissist will manage to provoke you to a certain point where A lot of you won't see what's going on and get you to the point of reacting in a negative way in front of the therapist. Or if it's an incident that happened not around the therapist, the narcissist will be bringing this up to the therapist or the doctor, etc., whatever. Right. And so now you've been made out to be the bad guy. You're the bad person. And you just wasted a lot of money with therapy, because narcissists aren't going to take accountability. They're going to finger point. They're going to project. They're going to make it seem like everybody else is the problem, not them. And they're very good at convincing others that, it's anything but them that's the issue. And so in the long run, this will not work. And that scenario will typically play out in most of the cases dealing with narcissists, trying to go to therapy with them. You're wasting your time. Don't even do it. Don't even do it. I keep telling all of you, I keep trying to impart this to you so that you're able to impute it properly, that the victim role, I said this from the beginning, main ways they get in is either by being a do-gooder or the victim role. And the victim role is very powerful, especially works on empaths, because empaths take that whole sympathy thing overboard. All right. They take it overboard and they can't read between the lines. A lot of the things that go on with narcissists, and you begin to see how dramatic and problematic they are within a situation, and you'll overlook it. You'll go and you'll co-sign on the excuses that they gave you about everything that they went through and why they are the way that they are, and why they should be entitled to act and behave the way that they're acting and behaving. But that's not acceptable. Just because you've when they give you this backstory, just because they've been hurt or they had a tough upbringing, that doesn't excuse the behavior and give them a license to behave and be outlandish and outrageous with others, at least, or with you. It doesn't give them that ability. And if you're one that doesn't assess that properly, you'll be going to try to do therapy and trying to help them and all of that. And to no avail, it will not work. All right. You got to see it for what it is. Stop tampering with the evidence. All right. That's all I'm going to say for this. I'm going to leave it at that. If you like, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit that notification bell too. If you want the one-on-one consultation with me, click the link in the description box, or you can email me. I'll leave the email for consultations only in the description box. Just hit me up with a brief little email. I'll give you all the information, and we'll take it from there. All right, till next time, everybody have a good one. Talk to you soon.